Hassan Naru.
Thank you, council members, for allowing us the opportunity to speak. I have talked to some of you, and I realize that some of you may hold Christian values. And due to those Christian values, you think you should support Israel. This may be due to a number of reasons. The world, historically, and people of European descent must atone, maybe, for their historical injustices against Jews. So the reasoning goes. However, does the repentance of former colonizers have to come at the expense of displacing indigenous people from their lands? Do two wrongs truly make a right? Another reason is that Israel is an ally, and we should support our allies, even if they are flawed sometimes. Has the US not really learned from supporting unjust regimes throughout the world? These actions only lead to instability and harm to people who live in those countries. Our alliance should be with the Jewish people, not with the state. As historically evidenced, the US used to support regimes in Iran or Iraq and numerous Central and South American countries. Those regimes went on to kill thousands of people. And that, I would argue, we should hold our allies to a higher moral standard than we would to any other nation. Additionally, I think we should also apply these Christian values to the right of Palestinian Christians to return to their former homeland. Israel currently denies the right of any person of Palestinian descent to return. Whether they're Christian, Muslim, doesn't matter. They cannot return to their historical homeland. Christians living in West Bank do not have the right to vote, even though Israel claims West Bank as part of its territory, and their Jewish neighbors who live in illegal settlements as defined by the US State Department have the right to vote. Over 90% of permit applications to improve lands held by Palestinians in West Bank are denied. And then these people are forcibly evicted from their land because they haven't been taking care of their land. Is this how we uphold our Christian values? Another reason brought up for not weighing in on this issue is that it's a slippery slope. Why should Peoria get involved in an international conflict? I would say that it's a fallacy to think that this is a slippery slope. For example, if politicians who support or who oppose same-sex marriage deploy the same tact and say that if we legalize same-sex marriage, what is to stop us from legalizing marriage between humans and robots? Clearly, this is a slippery slope. I would argue that the US funding for this conflict makes us complicit and is the reason why Peoria as a city should weigh in and inform the federal government and the state government about our stance as a city. Yes, the federal government is in charge of foreign policy. However, as evidenced, historically, cities and states frequently do weigh in on foreign policy issues. For example, the state of Illinois passed laws against the former apartheid state of South Africa, limiting business activity with South Africa. Illinois currently has a law on the books, and it was the first state to pass that law, which boycotts or limits actions of companies that boycott Israel. And the statute defines boycotting Israel as engaging in actions that are politically motivated and intended to penalize, inflict economic harm on, or otherwise limit commercial relations with the state of Israel or companies based in the state of Israel or in territories controlled by state of Israel. So Ben & Jerry's, for example, a company founded by Jews, if it wanted to not do any activities in West Bank, a territory occupied by Israel, Illinois would have to sanction Ben & Jerry's. So I would argue that our position does matter, even if it is an international conflict, because we are not weighing in on sanctioning Israel. We are just weighing in for a ceasefire. Natasha mentioned that we are polarized. This issue is where people are and they cannot change. Is that really so? Why do politicians then have ads every presidential campaign to convince people to change their viewpoint? if it is really not possible to change people's viewpoint.
Sorry, your time's up.